Greater Yellowstone's grizzly bear faces removal from the endangered species list. If that happens, they will be targets for trophy hunting. Scientists argue that this will reverse the recovery of the species.
The largest obstacles for recovery of the Yellowstone and Grand Teton bears is human-caused mortality, and the greatest potential future obstacle is even greater human-caused mortality.
Last year, over 10% were killed. That sort of mortality doesn't begin to be sustainable, and that is with federal protection. Fish and Wildlife contends that we have a viable population with 700 bears. Analysis by the American Mammalogy Society says no. The effective breeding population is going to require over twice that many bears. So we have to allow enough habitat for bears to expand into, and it exists here. It's just that they're not allowed to do it.
Certainly in Yellowstone, what we've got is an isolated population. And all the research that's been done on biogeography tells us that any isolated population is going to be intrinsically that much more vulnerable to any changes in its environment.
2 of their 4 major foods have all but been wiped out due to climate change, disease, and invasive species.
Climate change is already affecting vegetation. It's affecting whitebark pine. It's affecting trout. It's affecting elk habitat because it impacts almost everything that grizzlies use for food and habitat.
It really then comes down to whether we can connect this population with populations of grizzly bears elsewhere. If we can't, the ecosystem continues to unravel, densities continue to decline, they're going to be that much more vulnerable, potentially to extirpation.
Now that, to me, does not honor the letter of the ESA, which says that their decisions should be based on the best currently available science. The science changes, but their quotas, they don't change.
If you think about it, it's kind of absurd on the face of it. Yes, let's recover them and then let's shoot them.
I was really shocked to hear about this. Actually, I found it hard to believe because they face so many threats to their survival. If the grizzlies are delisted and the state opens a hunting season, I think many hearts would break. I know mine would.
Remember the people's outrage against the killing of Cecil the lion in Africa? What will happen when our beloved grizzly bear is hunted for sport around Yellowstone, the world's first national park? Are these beings worth more dead than alive?
Ultimately, it may come down to an ethical judgment regarding whether or not hunting of species like grizzly bears is appropriate to begin with. We have really good public data that suggests that while people are generally supportive of hunting, they are not supportive of trophy hunting. It's something that the data show that clearly the public just does not support.
The Endangered Species Act is important for a couple of different reasons. One, it's a safety net for species and populations that are at grave risk. But another reason it's important is it's one of the few laws that unambiguously gives all the American public a voice in management of wildlife.
Federal scientists that say that global warming won't have anything to do with the future of the grizzly bear are absolutely wrong. We're going through, a huge extinction right now, and it's happening with all the large mammals first.
At one time, we had grizzly bears throughout the western United States, probably about 100,000. In relation to that, we've lost a huge amount, roughly 95% of the bears in 95% of the places where they lived in the western U.S.
People generally want bears to be listed, and they want to see further recovery efforts. People would like to see more grizzly bears in more places and would like to see those populations protected.
Regardless of whether you think they are endangered or not, here we have a population of a species that is of national interest. And the national public deserves a voice in their management, not only now, but in perpetuity.